Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Mary and today I'm going to be doing the Counting the Days book tag. And I believe the premise of this book tag is you are picking books that you are excited to read, that you are counting down the days until you get to read, and then it has a series of prompts for why you are excited to read these books. I added an additional caveat to have all of these books be books that come from my own shelves. I pretty much am going to be telling you in this tag video why I bought the books that I did and like what about them intrigued me. I saw Book Chat with Pat do this video first, so I will have her channel linked down below. I don't know where this tag originated, but I'm sure her video will tell you, or you can look it up and find out. Then I will also be tagging people at the end of this video. The first prompt is, what is a book that intrigued you because of its cover? And for this, I said Crossroads by Jonathan Franzen, which goes all the way to the spine. And if you can see, it's got a woman sitting here and then a guy playing guitar here. It looks like they're sitting on like a picnic blanket. This book gives me like rich people vibes, and it kind of is. It's also extremely long, which makes me hesitant / nervous. But this book, from what I understand, follows a wealthy family in Illinois. I don't know if it's the Chicago area, but it's in the 70s, I believe. Yeah, it starts in December of 1971, and we're following the children of these wealthy parents, and then also the parents. And it sort of reminds me in the synopsis of the book that I read, The Line of Beauty, which that book was about a family, but it was told from the perspective of an outsider to the family. And it sounds like this is going to be told from the perspective of each of the family members within this family and how their wealth impacts them and how they feel about being wealthy, which sounds like an interesting premise to me. So I am excited to read this one. But again, I picked it up because I thought the cover was beautiful and also like a vibe. So the next prompt is a book that intrigued you because of its author. For this, I have Music for Wartime by Rebecca Makkai. This is a really shiny cover. I don't know if it used to be a library edition or what, but I got this at a used bookstore here in Kansas City, and I'm not entirely sure what this is about, but I have read 3 Rebecca Makkai books, I believe. One of them I own. I have some questions for you. I've also read The 100-Year House and another one. I can't remember what it was called. I'm not going to remember what it was called. That's okay. But I haven't given any of her books 5 stars. And so I'm wondering if this is going to be the one. I enjoy her writing and I enjoy her character work. I think her plots are very like slice of life almost. They're not like the most plot heavy book she has is I Have Some Questions for You. And this is like a literary mystery sort of type book. I don't know the plot of Music for Wartime. I did pick it up because I was intrigued by Rebecca Makkai as an author. She has so many books and I want to read a lot of them because I enjoy all of them, but I'm looking for the one that I'll love, if that makes sense. The next prompt is a book that you picked up because of its like premise. And for this, I said The Plot by Jean Humph Corlitz. And this is a thriller about a professor who teaches like writing, and one of his students has this really interesting manuscript, but then the student either dies or disappears, and the teacher steals the manuscript and writes the book. And this is a pretty popular premise, I think, but I'm really excited to read this one. I know Yellowface by R.F. Kuang is similar in that it's someone dies and someone else steals their manuscript and writes it and publishes it as if it is their own. And like the fallout from that. There's also a movie, and I swear this movie has like Cuba Gooding Jr. in it. It's from like the late 90s or early 2000s. It's called something like A Murder with Crows. I don't know. I saw it on Tubi a couple years ago, but it's about this guy who finds this manuscript of murder mystery novels and he like publishes it, and then he gets arrested for the murder of someone who was like, the murder was committed the same way that it's written in this book. And I don't remember how it ends. So, I mean, I wouldn't spoil it for you anyways, but I genuinely have no memory besides like the basic premise. But it is a premise that intrigues me. And so I am excited to read this one, and that is why I picked this up. The next prompt is, what is a book that you picked up because of its style? And for this, I said Ship of Theseus, because this is like a book within a book within a book, kind of. So I believe it's supposed to be similar to House of Leaves, which I have not read, but I do own. It's right here. So I could have said that for this. But this is like a fantasy book, I think, about a girl who finds this book, Ship of Theseus, and then in the book are her notes for what she's found. And like there's little details like this in here that I'm trying not to lose. So I'm really excited to read this. This was on my TBR a few months ago now, and I have not gotten to it yet. My husband got this for me for Christmas semi-recently, and this book was written by, this is a fake author of the Ship of Theseus, the book within the book. The person who wrote this book is Doug Dorst and J.J. Abrams. So I'm excited to read this at some point, but it does intimidate me because of how like involved it seems, but I am like intrigued by the premise, I guess. And I know that I didn't buy this for myself, so it's not really like fulfilling the why I got this book, but it is like intriguing to me because of that reason. And I do want to read it because of that reason. Prompt 5 is a book that you picked because of its influence. And I don't know how true to prompt this is, but I picked White Teeth by Zadie Smith because this was like a Tumblr girl's dream when I was on Tumblr 12 years ago. And there's that Lorde song called White Teeth Teens, I think is what it's called. And it's about like teenagers who read White Teeth by Zadie Smith. If you didn't know that, now you know. Zadie Smith is an author that I have no idea anything about her work except for that. It was very Tumblr core. Like if you had a Tumblr and you were a teenage girl in 2012 to 2014, okay, you had Zadie Smith quotes on your Tumblr. If you followed people who were really into like Marina Del Rey or whatever, which I know is a real place, but like it was Marina and the Diamonds and Lana Del Rey. People were like obsessed with them. You had Zadie Smith quotes all over your Tumblr. And I want to read it. I want to know. I want to know what's going on. It's been a decade. I never picked it up before. She has a ton of works. Swing Dance? Swing Time? I don't remember. But like people she's like critically acclaimed, right? And I've never read anything by her. I don't know anything about her, but I would like to. So Prompt 6 is a book that you picked up because of its emotional weight. And for this, I'm saying Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. This, I believe, is a time travel book about a Black woman in the US in present day, I think. Present day when this was written, I don't know when this was written. And she ends up time traveling back to slave times. And I believe she meets like family members while she's there. And I don't know anything else about this, but that sounds really heavy. And so I know that this will really emotionally impact me. I know that Octavia E. Butler is one of the like primary voices of like sci-fi, I think. And I haven't read anything by her, but I would like to. And I know there's a TV show now based on this. Yeah. Streaming on Hulu, according to the permanent sticker on this book. But I do really want to read this. I haven't seen the show because I've been waiting until I read the book because I'm that person. So I need to get to this. Prompt 7 is a book that you picked up because of, or that you want to read because of its sense of humor. I think I've been saying a book that you picked up or a book that you want to read interchangeably. And I do kind of mean them interchangeably because again, I'm saying why I bought these books. But I have Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut. I got this original print. All right. It's torn up, so it's not worth anything. But from Goodwill several years ago now. And I've never read Slaughterhouse-Five. I've read a couple of Vonnegut's. I've never read Slaughterhouse-Five. I also have Play Your Piano right here. It's a screen book. But I've never read that either. So these are the two that I own that I still have to read. I've read Cat's Cradle, which is my favorite one, Breakfast of Champions, and one other one that I can't remember. Breakfast of Champions was fine. I liked the audiobook because it's narrated by Stanley Tucci, and I think he's got a great voice. But this is a dystopian book of sorts, I believe. And I don't really know that much about it. Except for that, most people read this in school. I did not read this in school, which means I gotta catch up. I gotta read it now. So I am really excited about this. Kurt Vonnegut has a very funny writing style. He's very satirical. He's very on the nose for some things. And I find his like authorial voice very homey, very cozy to read. I really enjoy his works and I really enjoy the way that he writes things. And also like, I like his absurdist takes on things. Like, another author might take something to a certain line, but he goes way over the line to show you how ridiculous it is that you would even like have the line being here. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't push boundaries, he crosses them and then is like, isn't this the most ridiculous thing? And I love that. So I do want to read Slaughterhouse-Five. I'm very excited. And then the last prompt is a book that you want to read because of its challenge or difficulty. And for this, I'm saying Marcel Proust's In Search of Lost Time. This is Swan's Way. I have the first 4 back here. You can't see them all now because they're covered up by this, but I bought these really pretty editions with deckled edges. I know some people don't like deckled edges. I think they're fun, but they've got like foiling on them. And this is a like, I don't know, this is literature. I don't know really what it's about. I know the like Goodreads description says something about like all of the memories of this guy's childhood come rushing back to him when he tastes a Madeleine. I don't know anything more about it than that, but I do want to read it. I've heard the sentences are quite long, but I'm a Dickens fan, so maybe that won't bother me. So I am hopeful to read this. I want to read this. There's a group of people doing a read along for this series starting in January of 2025. So I think I'm gonna try to hop on to that and see if I can't work my way through. I think when I read this, I'm gonna have to do that thing that I really hate doing, where I mark out where I need to be at the end of each week. And then if I'm not making that, at the end of each day, okay? Because this isn't horribly long. It's like 450 pages, which is long, okay? But it's not terribly long. So in theory, I should be able to read this in a month, right? You would think that I could do that. So that's my plan for this. I'm gonna join that read along. I will try to remember to link the Discord to that read along down below and the channel of the person who is doing it, because I think if you want to join, that would be fun. I do want to read In Search of Lost Time. I've been wanting to read it, and it's been years since I bought those books, and it's time. I think I bought them in 2021. So 2025 seems like the year. The last prompt is to tag some people to do this, and so I'm gonna be tagging Marissa Tommen and A-Star Reads. If anyone else would like to do this, feel free to let me know what you are wanting to read and why you are wanting to read it, because I'm always curious. I'm very nosy. Feel free to answer these prompts in the comments below. If you make a video with this tag me in it so I can watch it, because again, this is the type of thing that I think is fun. So that is my list of a bunch of books that I do want to read and why I am wanting to read them, and also why I bought them in the first place. And so this is also me trying to make myself read things that I own, because I am notorious for buying books and then downloading a bunch of free audiobooks from my library and reading that instead of the books that I've bought with my own money. So again, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you would like to, you can subscribe to my channel because I do post 2 videos a week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.